Hello. I'm on the tarantula grind right now. And let me assure you, it is an experience. Oh my god. I've basically played this game for like 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours, like every night. Just looking for tarantulas, because that's where the money's at in this game. Because if to anyone who's played this game, or if you ask anyone who's played this game, they'll tell you it's where the money's at. At least besides turnips, but it's not Sunday. It's what day is it? It's April 9th. It's like almost 8 p.m. Oh no! Oh my god, that was beautiful. I'm so proud. Ugh, that was amazing. But yeah, today is Thursday, so I'm just hanging out here. I think the goal is to just raise a lot of money from the tarantulas, and then buy into the turnips, and then sell them for a huge profit. I think that's a good idea. In case anyone's curious about like why all these items are up here, it's because the tarantula strat is you basically clear out an entire deserted island that you go to using the Nook Miles, or the Nook Miles ticket, and you cut in all the trees, take out all the flowers, remove all the weeds, and I think you'd have to dig everything out too. I leave the shells on the shore. I'm not really sure about that either. And then you just run around and let spiders spawn, because what you're basically trying to do is eliminate every other possible bug spawn, except like a very limited number. So what happens mostly is the bugs will the bugs that will spawn are tiger beetles, which is I just scared them away. I'll probably put an image on the screen. Maybe I'll put a real one. That would be really spicy. But yeah, I'm pretty much just running around trying to find tarantulas, because that's one of the only bugs that can spawn. And I don't know if you guys can see it right over there, but those are wharf roaches. They spawn too, and I wish they didn't spawn underneath items, but you know. Oh yeah, and the reason you get rid of all the items and put them like at a remote location is because you want your inventory open so you can actually catch tarantulas. So I'm trying to fill all of these rows basically, and it can take a very long time. And I've been doing this for so long, like every night basically this week. And to be honest, I'm quite sick of it. I really am just sick of like I'm kind of sick of just running around just doing this for 3 to 4 hours every night. Because at first it was kind of fun. It was like, oh, that's kind of interesting, but then you realize that island RNG is a thing, and it's actually cancer. It's really not good. Oh yeah, and then there's the water beetles, or the giant water bugs, which I despise, because they'll just swim out into the middle of the water where you literally can't catch them, and you're screwed, and that's it. See, oh, he was about to do it. He was raring to go. I don't know, it's rather frustrating after a while, because sometimes the RNG is just not on your side. I've been looking for a bamboo island for a while. I got one and found a bunch of spiders there, which was really nice, but I didn't know about the spider grinding strat then, and I was just kind of like, oh, there's a bunch of them here. But I think that's like the ideal for spider grinding, just because there's no hills, there's no nothing. It's literally just a flat landscape. So that's basically like ideal conditions. I've gotten a couple other islands where it was good, but I accidentally like sometimes I'll just accidentally like if you save your game on an island to go AFK, like I did that the other day. Like if you do that, it sends you back to your house, it kicks you off the island, And I was like, oh my god, I finally found the perfect island. Like, I don't have to be annoyed as much anymore. Like, now I can do this tonight without a lot of hassle. And then I saved my game to go, I think, like, eat dinner or something, and then I realized, oh, I just kicked myself out. That's nice. And I had to go through a lot of Nook Miles tickets to get here. Like, to get to this island. Because the first two I got tonight were, like, useless, basically. I actually got another one of these the first time, and at first I was like, oh, this is pointless. I can't, there's no way I'm gonna find spiders here. But then I just decided to wait it out. And I stupidly, because I got impatient, like a big ape gamer, I just kind of used one, went to the island and looked at it and said, nah. And I just ran. Just left and went straight back home. Oh, there's one. Oh yeah, another part of the strat is you hold on to the water bugs because they're worth like 2.5k, which is pretty good. So if you don't get enough spiders, then you can just supplement them with like the slightly cheaper option, which is the water bugs. The presence of water bugs in this game is so interesting to me, just because I used to watch this YouTube channel called Brave Wilderness. I'm sure most people like know about it. It's where that one Coyote Peterson guy just like finds animals and talks about them, but he's most known for like getting bitten by stuff. And I remember seeing a video. It was him getting bit by a water bug, one of these guys in particular, because like just because he'd done it before and he was like, oh, do it for the series, and then he did it and he was like, and it's the normal shtick. Also, I have an Arnold Palmer in front of me. It's very nice. It's Arizona brand. But yeah, I remember seeing it and I was like, isn't this thing like a highly dangerous animal? And I was correct. I looked it up and I was like, yep, it is. It's the same one. I don't think I can catch this one. Oh, I actually could. Okay, thank God. Honestly, I think I'm really happy this game is on the Switch. Just because it's very good for that in terms of like taking it places and traveling with it. But I don't know. Or actually, I was about to say like the game isn't great for it, but that's untrue. I personally am not having as great of a time with it on Switch, just because, or on the Switch, because my Joy-Cons are like getting finicky as of late. I have 2 pairs. I bought a second pair like a year or 2 after I got my Switch because I had a lot of games that I wanted to play with my cousins. Yes. Oh, this is perfect. So yeah, I got a second pair, and then one day when I was playing Smash Ultimate, which it's not my favorite game of all time, but basically there was a short period of time where I was like, oh, I'm gonna get really good at this game, but then I didn't really acknowledge that I wasn't a huge fan, and I pretty much only wanted to get good just to like impress my friends. After a while I quit, and I was like, there's no point to this, I'm not even really playing this game that much anymore, because I don't have the drive for it. Well, there was one day where I like lost a match, and I was just like, this sucks, and I just kind of like squeezed my Joy-Con in my hand. Or I think I like had them in both my hands, and I just kind of did that, just because I'm a big baby rager. And this is years ago at this point, but like I did that, and then it like broke one of the joysticks on. I think it broke the joystick on my left one, and it was pretty annoying. So now one of my Joy-Con sets is like kind of useless. So the only way I'm gonna be able to play is with my old set, and it's pretty annoying. But it's okay, just because whenever I play multiplayer games, I rarely ever play them with like 4 people. So sideways Joy-Con usage is like basically capped to 3 at the max. Most of the time I'm just playing with like my cousins, or one of my cousins, so it's not really a big deal. But But when it comes to stuff like this, where I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna play on my Switch a lot now because Animal Crossing is out. Having a broken set of Joy-Cons is pretty irritating. I'm actually surprised at the spider RNG we're getting right now. Usually, like, there have been a couple nights where I've gone 30 minutes without seeing one, and then I like see like 3 in a row, and then they just vanish again. You can kind of see my Joy-Cons. Every now and then, in my movement, you can just kind of see my character just, like, spin out for no reason. It's pretty annoying. But, or you'll see, like, if I'm running at certain angles, like, it just slows down for no reason. It's pretty frustrating, but it's tolerable. I just wish it wasn't happening. Part of me wants to buy a new pair of Joy-Cons. Just straight up. Because it was my birthday recently. And, I feel like it would be a worthwhile investment because I'm playing my Switch a lot recently, like a lot, because of this game, and I'm like slowly building up more and more reasons to play my Switch, because before this game came out, I wasn't playing my Switch at all, basically, like at all. Zero. I was rarely ever using it. I was mainly playing on my PlayStation 4 or my PC because I was playing like Risk of Rain 2 with buddies. So, I mean, I still do, but, like, I was playing it a lot more than I was this. But then this came out, and I was like, alright, I gotta, like, make sure everything's functioning. And, I also, for Christmas, like, 2 years ago, I got a Pro Controller for my Switch, like a PDP one. It wasn't, like, the official one, because the PDP ones were, like, $20 less. And they work really well, so. And I broke that, too. That was not like I ripped my controller in half kind of thing. It was more of just like slammed on it, and it just kind of, like, in the insides of it kind of just pooped out. I need to be watching my net durability. The other night I had a system where I had a notepad app open, and I would just, like, mark it. I would, like, put a letter into it just every time I caught something, but I was, like, not keeping track of it very well. But I haven't caught so much stuff yet. I'm pretty okay. What was I saying? Completely lost track of what I was thinking of. Oh yeah, my Pro Controller. Yeah, so, for like a year and a half, my Pro Controller just didn't work at all, because I, like, messed with it that one day. So that was really depressing, and I was like, man, that sucks. Like, that was a, like, really nice controller. And then, I don't know what it was, but, like, last summer or something, or, like, very recently, it just kind of, like, sometime in, like, the last year around, it just started working, like, perfectly again. So I'm like, I don't know, whatever. And the main thing that broke on it wasn't like, oh, the entire thing just isn't functioning. No, it was, like, literally the like, face buttons were the part that was not functioning. As in, by face buttons, I mean the, like, plus, minus, the home button and the screenshot button, because they're all, like, central on the controller, and it was just those, like, those would not work. And everything else pretty much worked, like, all the, like, ZR, ZL, R and L, the pseudo D-pad, and, like, the joysticks and the X, Y, B, A, like, all of that worked, all of it was fine, except for those middle buttons, which I was just like, this sucks, like, that's gonna, like, it's not gonna be bad for, like, at first, but it's gonna be an issue, so I like, there's gonna be a point in which it's gonna be a problem, so I'm just not gonna use it. And then eventually it came back, and then it started working again, so it's fine. And the other day, like, my Joy-Cons have really started to, like, face some wear as of late, just because I've been playing on them so much, and playing Animal Crossing, and, basically all of my Joy-Cons drift to some degree. Right now, I mixed up my old pair and my new pair, so I have a blue Joy-Con and a gray Joy-Con. And the gray one I'm using is very drifty. Like, like, a lot. It's just kind of, like, going like this every now and again. But it's always like, oh, it's drifting. Let me just let go of it to see which way it's drifting so I can mess with it a little bit. And then I let go and it stops drifting, and I'm just like, okay. But my blue one's okay. The red one, which is my left Joy-Con, which is why I'm using the gray, like the left gray. The red is in my second set. That one's That one's the broken one. But I tried fixing it the other day too. No bueno. I mean, it still works. It's just I basically can't move down at all. So yeah, it's kind of annoying. But oh well. I just kind of mixed up the set at this point because my right Joy-Con was, I think my right one on my first set, so my grays, in other words, were pretty okay. But I figured like I might as well optimize like my best working Joy-Cons into like one set. So I just mixed the gray and the blue. I'm very tempted to buy a new set though, because I have birthday money and I want to have functioning Joy-Cons for once. No, don't go. Okay. Another reason I really want them is just because I'm afraid that eventually, like, all of mine will kind of just die out on me, and I really don't want that, because I want to keep playing this game. I mean, if they all die out on me, I'm sure I'll just be like, okay, I can't use my Switch otherwise, so I might as well take it upon myself to buy a new set. But I don't want it to reach that. I just want these ones to be, like, fine. Which is potentially a bad expectation, because it probably, like, I don't know if it will fix itself like my Pro Controller did. But even my Pro Controller drifts now, too, which sucks. Because, okay, so I was watching Grapefruit, my favorite streamer slash YouTuber right now. I was watching him play, or I wanted to watch him play De Blob, because I finished watching his Guacamelee VODs, and I was like, well, I want to watch something else. And I saw De Blob, and I was like, whoa, that's sick. I haven't seen that game in a long time. And then I saw him playing it, and I was like, I can't watch this man play this anymore. It wasn't even because, like, oh, he's doing a bad job or something, or oh, I don't like it anymore. No, it was just like, the game was so good, I didn't want to have to be like, oh yeah, I watched a blob recently. No, I wanted to play it myself. I wanted to be like, yeah, I want to play the game again. So I kept my eye out for a sale for a couple days. I was gonna get it on my PS4, but it wasn't on sale there, and the sequel was like $40, and the first one was $30, which I wasn't keen on. But eventually I looked on Steam, and there was like, they were both the first one and the second one were on sale for like $5. And then I found it on Switch for $6 each, and I was like, alright, I'm taking that one, because I want to play it on my TV, and I want to play it on my like monitor, on controller. So that's what I did, and now I started to Blob, and that game was good. I also never realized that depending on what color you are, it changes up the music and like adds in and like mixes in different instruments, or like different just like audio cues and stuff like that, which is super interesting. Also, the only reason I'm not catching the spider is because I hate wall spiders. But it's a really good game. I forgot how fun it was in many ways. Please walk out of the wall. Oh my god. It's just a really good game, I guess. I don't really know what else to say. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm slowly starting to master the spider tech just because I'm, like, getting these things so often. Last night was hell with the spiders. I'll tell you right now. Last night was utter trash. Like, every other spider I found was just in the wall or next to another bug. And there were several times where I simply could not catch the spider just because the other bug was in the way, or because the wall got in the way and I got slightly too close. It's just so frustrating. Honestly, this game, the more I played this game, the more I miss New Leaf. It's as simple as that, to be honest. Like, I really like crafting stuff, and I like sharing recipes and all that stuff. But I'll be completely honest here. I am sick and tired of having to change out my tools. It's getting really annoying now. Because I play this game a lot, and I know a lot of people do as well, and I guess it's not as big of a deal for them, but I don't know. The more I play it, the more I'm just like, I want tools that don't shatter immediately. Because sometimes it just feels like I'm burning through stuff. Luckily, my friend taught me this tech where you just, like, if you just keep customizing them, they don't break. So I keep running with that. And I looked up how many uses a net has. Who's a net, am I right, fellas? I looked up how many uses a bug net has, and it's like 30, I think. So I'm just kind of keeping the number in my head, just trying to like count it a little bit. Because I haven't had this bug net break in a while. I made this one last night, and it lasted for like the whole play session pretty much. So that was pretty nice, but honestly, this game has very many flaws that like are just becoming more and more of a nuisance the more I play it. Just because because I'm enjoying it so much, I'm just forced to naturally experience a lot of its flaws because I'm playing the game a lot. But honestly, this game is really good. There are some things about it that just really grind my gears. Like, for example, I mentioned this briefly earlier, but I just despise the RNG islands with the Nook Miles. I also kind of dislike having to use Nook Miles to go to the island. Like, in New Leaf, there was one island. One. And every time you went there, you know you'd find some rare stuff. Like, guaranteed. No matter what, you're gonna find something rare. And you would pay a flat fee of 100k or 1000k bells, and that was it. You were there, and then you could catch whatever you wanted. It was no skin off your back. It was perfect. And I remember, like, that was when I first experienced Animal Crossing. I remember I was in 6th grade, and I just got out of school, and for some reason, I think I was sad for some reason leaving 6th grade. I think it was because I liked a girl and she didn't like me back, and I was just kind of like, oh, that sucks. So of course you do the middle school thing of sulking like a nerd for a while. So I did that, and then eventually, since I had a lot of time on my hands at that rate, I was like, oh, I should just play video games. And I already had Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U, which I'm realizing it sounds out of the blue, but it's not. I had Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate on the Wii U that I got like earlier, like a couple months prior, and my parents were like throwing a party, and they didn't want me in the living room playing on the Wii U, because I used to play video games in my living room, and they didn't want me in my living room on my Wii U playing it. So I basically just told my parents, like, hey, can I get the 3DS version? And they were like, sure, go for it. So I got the 3DS version of that. And then, not too long after, Animal Crossing New Leaf came out, and I remember hearing about it from PBG, I think, because I was super, wait, did I hear about him from PBG, or did I just find it? No, I didn't know about PBG at that point. Yeah, okay, I wasn't in the know at that point. But I think I just saw an ad for it on TV, and like a buddy of mine was like, oh, it's pretty cool, and I was like, oh, like this game looks cool, and I've heard about it a lot. Let me give it a go. And then I played it, and I like fell in love with it. It was the best. And then I played Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate and Animal Crossing New Leaf on my 3DS like all summer pretty much. And that was pretty much all I played. Like that whole summer. I have like 130 hours in like each of them pretty much. I think, well, of course there's differences between the two, but like in terms of hour count. But okay, I pretty much have. I have like 100 hours in each just from that summer. And it was a blast. I remember my cousins, who I go visit every summer, they have a pool, and I remember I would just go swimming in it for like all day, and then at night I would go like go to bed, and I would just boot up Animal Crossing, and it would probably be like 10 or 11 p.m. because I live out east, so I was like, oh, like the time zones were like a huge thing, so I would just pop that in my system and just like go to the island, listen to Captain's little song in his boat, and then I would just go catch like just beetles on trees, and that was the most fun. And I remember that, like, I would always put on Nick at Night, and it would always be Friends playing. And I would just watch Friends and just play Animal Crossing. And it was like, I honestly have such a hard time, like, remembering fonder gaming moments on occasion. I mean, there are definitely some moments where I've been like, oh my god, like, this is amazing, but that was so much fun. That was such a great time. And then I would also just play Monster Hunter. Like, I feel like most of the time it was like, wake up, play Animal Crossing, spend the day playing Monster Hunter, then at night I would go back to Animal Crossing, because inherently this game isn't very suitable for, like, playing it all day long. Like, this game is made to be played, like, throughout the day, just, like, at certain points. Like, you wake up, you check your stuff, you look at your little... You look at shops, Also, that spider scared me. You look at shops, you go, like, talk to your villagers, you, like, hit up your rocks, make sure you, like, get all the materials from them. And then you, like, put it down, so just, like, let stuff, like, re-roll a little bit. Maybe you'll come back later, do something else. And then at night, like, you can go searching for the rare bugs and stuff like that. So that's pretty much what I always do. Like, I played a lot in the morning, and then I put it down for most of the day, and then come back at night to, like, grind. That's what I've been doing, pretty much. It's a great thing to get up to, in my mind. I really enjoyed that as a kid, too. Or back in middle school, too. Just because it was really enjoyable to just have something to look forward to every morning, I guess. And I know that makes me sound like I'm, like, either ungrateful for the things I have, or just, like, unhappy generally. But I trust me, I wasn't. I was such a happy kid, but, like, it was really nice to just be like, wake up. Oh, I can check my, like, town now. Like, oh, that's sick. So I go check my town, and then I do all that, and then by the time I'm done checking my town, I'm like, oh, I'm awake now, so let me go do stuff during the day. It's like the perfect wake-up tool. And, well, actually, it was for me back then, but now it's kind of hard to wake up with this game. Because even when I finish playing it, I'm still just like, ugh, I'm tired. But, yeah, it's very nice to just have, like, a little game to just return to every now and again. Because this game is very relaxing, and I really enjoy that in a game. And, that's another reason I started playing The Blob, too, because I just wanted, like, a feel-good game to play. And then I saw Grapefruit playing it, or I saw the Grapefruit VOD of it for like 10 minutes, and then I was like, I know, I gotta play this game myself. And then I plan to go back and watch the Grapefruit VOD afterward, just to, like, relive it again, and just, like, have it with, like, his commentary, because I think he's, like, absolutely hilarious. But yeah, so I just wanted, like, that kind of game. And also, in a way, I'm kind of reviving that summer of 6th grade where I played Monster Hunter and Animal Crossing, because I was thinking about it recently, and I've really wanted to play Monster Hunter 3 again, because I have a 3DS capture card that I got for making videos, and I feel like I don't use it a lot, and I also hate playing Monster Hunter on my 3DS. Or at least I don't like playing the old one, just because... I don't like playing 3 Ultimate specifically, just because it looks kind of poopy now. But, so I was like, oh, I'll just use my capture card to stream it to my, like, PC, basically, and then play off my PC and just use my 3DS as a controller. And I was, like, gonna start doing that for a while, because it checks out, like, it makes sense. I was like, oh, yeah, this actually works. But then I realized, like, the only thing that's making me want to play that game a lot is just nostalgia, and like, for the sequels that came after that are way better, to be honest, or at least in my opinion, like, in terms of quality and content and just everything. So, like, I'm kind of content on just going back to Generations Ultimate, because I started it, got like 30 hours in, and then put it down and just didn't want to play it anymore, because the beginning of Generations Ultimate is the exact same as Monster Hunter Generations itself, like the original Monster Hunter Generations. So I played that and then got burnt out, and it was just kind of like, well, I already relived this, and now that I'm at the new content, I don't really want to do the new content, so I'm done. But now I'm like, well, I want to play Monster Hunter, but I don't want to, like, I'm just going to play it, like, however I want. Because when I played Generations Ultimate, I felt like I had to experiment with the, like, the new stuff. So I started playing a lot with, not Adept style. What was it? I started playing a lot with the Brave style. And it was fun, and it was, like, really, it was kind of rewarding sometimes, but it's not what I want to do. I don't really like the styles, just in general. Just because they're just kind of boring to me. Or they're not, I'm not going to say that. I don't find them boring. I think they're cool. I actually think some of them are, like, sick. Like, that's why I used Brave style at first, because I was like, well, if I'm going to use a style, I'm going to use this one, because it's actually awesome. And I just played Greatsword with that, because it makes you super fast, so you're just running around with the crazy Greatsword, just doing ridiculous stuff. Arnold Palmer break. Like, in that game, you're running around with the Greatsword, just, like, actually running, like, you're dashing around like crazy. And it felt pretty satisfying, but to be honest, that's not really what I want. Like, that's why I kind of like Monster Hunter World, because it just kind of removed all that, and it just went back to, like, there's not really a style, you just kind of play it the way you play it. And that, like, each weapon has its own play style, and that's it. And it's not altered by, like, hunting styles in any way. So I think I'm just gonna play the game, and then I'm just gonna play on, like, guild style the whole time, or maybe striker, just so I have more special moves, because I'm okay with the special moves to a degree, but I don't want all the extra stuff and have to, like, relearn a moveset just because I choose something different. Like, I just want either guild or striker. I thought about playing it with katana or longsword and, like, the weird barrel style that, like, generates items, because I thought it would be kind of funny, kind of, like, entertaining. But I feel like that's a challenge for another day. I just want to make a character and just kind of, like, get into the fun grind of Monster Hunter again. Because to be honest, I'm kind of I don't want to have to deal with that stuff. I don't want to have to deal with all, like, the styles and everything. I just want to play Monster Hunter, get into the grind of it, and just have a lot of content in front of me. And that's the way to do it, to be honest. And I get to play it on Switch, because I remember I was so hyped for Monster Hunter on Switch. Because I was like, oh my god, it's like the perfect... It's like what Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate wanted to do, but now it's actually legitimate. Because in the Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate days, it was just kind of like, oh... put your like 3DS saves on your Wii U. Whoa, isn't this crazy? Like, you can crossplay and, like, transfer saves so you can take it on the go and then come home and play it on your TV. And I was like, whoa, that's sick. And I did that a couple times when I was trying to, like, pick up the game again. And then my Wii U got corrupted and I got owned, so that was kind of nice. But like, that was a perfect evolution of it. It was a perfect, like, oh, now I don't have to, like, cycle between offline and or away from my TV and through TV. Now I can just switch at any point and not have to even worry about transferring saves, worry about this, that, or the other thing. I can just straight up, like, I'm just like, boom, alright, it's in my hands. So yeah, I'm looking forward to doing that. So I just want to, I'm looking forward to just using my Switch a lot more, and I don't want my Joy-Cons to poop out on me. Basically, that's my biggest concern. Because this game is rad, like, as much as I'll yell at this game all day long, just because it's so infuriating at points, but... Which is so bizarre to me, because I don't like getting mad at Animal Crossing, but... Like, I'll yell at this game all day, but it's still, like, really relaxing and really, like, it's a solid Animal Crossing game. It's a good evolution of the series. It's just... There's just a lot of things that make me angry about it. Like, weapon or item durability that just seems ridiculously short. Or the RNG for the islands, because there's only a couple of them that actually will viably give you spiders to make money. And there were a couple other things that kind of... Oh, I hate the pacing of the game. Like, just the general flow of everything is not ideal to me. Just because I enjoyed... I was super excited to, like, just jump into it. Because when you go into New Leaf, you basically spend, like, I want to say, like, at max 3 days learning how the game works, and then you're free to just do whatever you want. And that's that. Like, you're set for the rest of the game. And then anything new that comes up, the game is just kind of like, oh yeah, this is a thing. And you're like, oh, okay, that's simple enough that I can, like, grasp that and not need a tutorial. But in this game, everything is just so slow. And I don't mean, like, time-wise, because obviously the game runs in real time. Like, it's how it's supposed to work. I just mean, it's very slow in terms of how you get started, I guess. Like, you spend probably, like, a week of the game initially listening to the same song because there's no hourly song transitions for, like, the first week of the game, because you go to the deserted island that you spend all your time on, and you don't have a town hall yet, and you're basically just kind of having villagers trickle in while you, like, figure stuff out and, like, just learn to craft stuff. And you also, like, there's a really long period where you can't submit any bugs or fish or fossils to the museum, and that was really annoying to me because that's one of my favorite parts of this game. So I would, like, stockpile creatures just to, like, turn in at a later date because I physically couldn't, because the game was just like, yeah, you're not gonna do that yet because you don't have the museum yet. But it was like, okay, but I have all the items and Blathers is still here, so let me just, like, ask him. Yeah, I'm sure he's got storage, but, like, I don't know. It's just very bizarre to me, because it felt like, oh, I know how to do this thing. Oh, I want to do this thing. Oh, I want to, like, be able to do this already. But then the game was just kind of like, no, you can't do that yet, because you haven't unlocked this thing yet. I'm just like, okay, well, when do I unlock this? And it's like, in a week, lol. I'm just like, okay, nice, thanks, game. Because, like, even with tools, like, I was like, okay, give me a shovel, like, I'm ready to start digging. But you don't unlock it after a long time. And you have to unlock recipes for certain tools, and it takes, like, days and days and days just to get it going. And then eventually, somewhere down the line, you get the town hall, and then you get hourly music, and it's like, finally. But then, eventually, you're gonna find out what comes next. Because, eventually, like, you just keep paying off your home loan, and it keeps getting more and more money, and that makes sense. Like, or it keeps getting worth more and more, which is a natural progression, obviously, but it's rather frustrating. And then, or I mean, I don't mean the home loan payments, I just mean the pacing of the game. Just because, like, okay, so you get the town hall, and the hourly music starts, and then, like, eventually the museum gets built, and you can start putting stuff in there. And then all the rest of the shops just slowly, ever so slowly, take their time just trickling into your town. Like, I just recently got the Able Sisters shop, and I didn't, like, didn't you have that at, like, the beginning of New Leaf? You had all the shops. You had the museum, you had the, like, even though, like, the store was small, and it wasn't exactly, like, the fully upgraded store, like, you still had the store. Like, just the basic store where you can buy stuff. Like, you had that from the start. And it's just frustrating. It just feels like the game wasn't giving me things. And that was really annoying. I also did not like that you couldn't explore your whole island from the start because you don't have the vaulting pole and there are no bridges, so you can't cross rivers. Like, that really pissed me off. I was like, why? Why can't I just want to go over there? And then eventually the game's like, oh, here's the pole, like, go look around. And I'm like, alright. Like, well, I don't know why I couldn't do this earlier, but whatever. I also think the ladder item is stupid, just in general, because I feel like in many ways it's pointless, because eventually you start making inclines, and then you don't need them anymore, because you can just run over the inclines. But then on islands like this, like, you need it to go places, and it's like, that's an inventory slot. I could be filling that with spiders. I don't know. It's like, this game is so great that everything that bogs it down is just made 10 times worse because of how great it is, because it's like, oh, I want to keep playing it more, but oh, it's moving too slowly, or oh, my items are breaking left and right, and I have to replace them with certain items. And then the egg hunt is going on right now, so then everything that I harvest is like a fourth of it comes back just as eggs, and I'm just like, okay, that's not what I wanted at all, and I'm not even really keen on celebrating this thing, but like, whatever. Like, I guess I'm just getting owned. Also, why are water bugs so hesitant to run away? That's another thing. Like, I feel like they should just be skittering away from me as I basically just impaled that one with my vaulting pole. And it just took it and just kept going. But if I do, ooh, excuse me. If I do that with a fish, it just resists me. Or if I do that, like if I do that with a fish, it just runs away. But if I do that with a water bug, it just like gets scared off. Like, watch this. Fish is gone. But no, if I do that with a water bug, it's like, heh, no. Like, I'm still here, lol. I don't like that there's not a way I can eliminate their spawn rates. Because that's how you get the spiders to spawn the most in the first place. It's because, like, you eliminate all the tree bugs, all the flower bugs, like, basically everything else. And the only thing that can really show up are the wharf roaches, the tiger beetles, and the spiders, as well as the water bugs, of course. But I wish there was a way to just reduce their spawn rates, because the second you erase everything else, the game is just like, well, you can't do anything to the water, so we might as well give you more. And it's just like, okay, I didn't ask for this, but okay. And I don't know. Honestly, the only reason I'm doing this right now, like the only reason I'm recording this, I'm just talking into the microphone for about 40 minutes now, is just because, like, I got sick of the grind, and I really just didn't want to do it, like, in a way I just didn't want to do it alone, because, like, I don't know, recently I've just been like, oh, like, I wonder what kind of videos I want to make. Or, like, I'm just, like, thinking of different videos to make, and then eventually I was like, well, I want to document my time that I spend with games, and just, like, be able to, like, look back on my old videos and be like, oh, this is a video of when I used to play this game. Oh, that's, like, super cool. So I can, like, look back at it in a couple of years and be like, oh, man, remember when I played Animal Crossing New Horizons a lot? That was sick. Like, look at this. Look at me grinding for tarantulas. Whoa, dude, whoa. I mean, I probably wouldn't pog out as much, but I'd probably be like, oh, that's pretty cool. It's nice to look back on, but I just couldn't figure out how to actually make this work. So then eventually I was like, one thought I had was like, I want to just be able to record whatever, so I'll just plug in my Elgato forever. I hated that because there's cables all over my desk when I do that. And even if I try to hide them, they're still there. It's pretty annoying. And then whenever I want to play a game, I have to switch all my inputs to my Elgato, and I didn't like that either, because then it's like, oh, time to play a video game. Oh, but now I gotta set up all the cables, and I gotta turn on Elgato, and I gotta make sure everything's working, and I gotta make sure the frame rate's right, and I gotta make sure the aspect ratio's right. And it's like, I don't want to do that. That's why I like the whole PlayStation recording system of just like, you hit the share button, save video, done. Oh boy, we got another wall spider. Alright, well. So now I'm just kind of like, I completely lost my train of thought again. I saw the spider and I got distracted. I'm not catching this. It's too far over. Oh, that's really good. That's really good. Oh yes, thank God. Okay. But yeah, so I recorded myself. I remember what I was talking about now. I recorded myself farming for this one fish that was supposed to be in my region, only to realize that it wasn't in my region at all, like, period. And that all the charts of like what fish is in what region were wrong online. So I basically just got wrong information and grinded for a bug, or grinded for a fish I couldn't catch for 3 days, and that sucked. So while I was grinding for it, I was like, oh, I should record myself and like just make the grind like less tedious by just like talking with like just talking into a mic or whatever. My plan was, oh, instead of like recording myself doing it, I'll just where am I going with this? Instead of recording myself doing it, or instead of like recording my voice while doing it, I should just like I should just like write down my thoughts and then like make a video out of that. So it's just like cataloging like what my weird thought process while I'm playing this game. And so I did that, and I got a bunch of footage, and it all looked really clean, and I was in the editing phase already, like straight off the bat, and I was like, alright, let's like, the way I was gonna display my thoughts was just like in text on the screen. And I was gonna just do it that way, and just like have the music be the music, and like the sound effects just like be the in-game sound. That just would have been that. Maybe I would have put like a little visual gags here and there, just to like, because maybe I was like listening to a separate song on YouTube or something, and then I wanted to like put that in because that's what I was listening to. But then once I hit the editing phase, I started it, and I was like, wait, I don't remember anything that I thought of, because I was a big dum-dum and didn't write it down. So, and then eventually I was just like, man, I was doing the tarantula grinding again, like the other night, and I was like, man, I don't want to do this. And then I was like, oh, I know a way to make this less painful. I can just turn this into a video or like record it, and that would automatically just like release some of my like stress about it. Not stress is harsh. It would release some of my aggravation about it, because then I can just talk about it as I'm doing it, and then make a video out of it. Because part of my inspiration for that was a YouTube channel called Saint Riot. It's this Dark Souls guy who just makes a lot of like PvP videos and stuff like that. He's really funny, and I really like his sense of humor. And a lot of his videos as of late have just been him like doing Dark Souls invasions while he just kind of stream of consciousness like speaks. And like he's been doing a series as of late called Quarantine Inebriated, because he's like locked in his. He said that like his house is being worked on, so he went to his brother-in-law's cabin, and like super far away from like. Or, I mean, it was, like, in a city, but it was, like, far away from most people. So he was just, like, streaming and just playing video games. And he was like, oh, yeah, I should probably be making videos, huh? Because, like, everyone's in quarantine and everyone's at home and needs stuff to watch, so I can just do that. So he just made a bunch of videos like that. And the series is called Quarantine Inebriated, and he just talks to the camera and just, like, talks about things that he's thinking about, and talks about, like his invasions and stuff like that, and what's actually happening on screen. I thought that was sick, so I was like, you know, I could do that. I don't see why not. Like, Animal Crossing grinding is, like, actually really annoying. Or at least this part is, just because I'm sick of running around for 3 hours looking for tarantulas, and sometimes not even getting a payoff. Unless I, like, really, like, sit there for hours upon hours. So I thought I might as well buffer that just with recording. So that's the whole point of why I'm here. And I might make other videos like this in the future. Like maybe if I actually do if I actually do start playing Monster Hunter Generations again, or Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate again, and I'm grinding for some like rare item off of a like monster, maybe I'll turn on my microphone and just kind of speak into the mic, because that would be really nice, to be honest. And I don't really know I don't really know what I would call this. Because at first I was kind of like, oh, it would just be like a 30-minute video of me just kind of running around, but now that I'm thinking about it, it's like, this is 3 hours. This, like, every night it's been 3 to 4 hours that I've just been doing this. And I suppose I could just cut it down, but, like, I really want to do that. So I could just, I mean, I could. I know I'm gonna edit this like a little bit, just so like if there's pauses or stuff, like just and a really long time goes by without me like really saying much, or if I like just kind of zone out a little bit and don't really talk, like I want to cut that out and actually have stuff there. But I figured I would just like my brain is going towards like, yeah, this is a podcast kind of. But I'm kind of unsure. Also, fun fact, for anyone who's curious, I've actually been thinking about doing a video game podcast. Like just grabbing a couple of YouTuber buddies I know, and just like setting up like a Discord call and then just like recording it and putting it on like YouTube, or just like streaming it on Twitch and then uploading the VOD to YouTube. Because I feel like I have so much stuff that I want to say about a lot of games, but I don't want to do reviews. Or at least I don't want to do reviews, like, as much. Because, one thing that I've, like, really been thinking about as of late is that, most reviews online are kind of passionless, I guess. Because most people don't really do reviews on stuff that they're wholeheartedly passionate about. And the same goes for video essays too, because like that's a whole scene on YouTube of just people that do like, oh, here's why this thing is bad, or here's why this thing you like is really like actually bad, and here's why you should dislike it, and or, like just stuff like that. And most people will just like some video essay people, some of their videos will be passionate, like that's inevitable. Someone has to take a first step in, and a lot of the time most people do what they're most passionate about, and those videos are actually good. I'll say that out loud right now. Like a video essay that is about something that you enjoy and that you wholeheartedly are passionate about. Like a game that you like is one of your favorites and that you've played like every entry in the series of, and that you've experienced countless times and you can speak on like without like a shadow of a doubt. You got it. Like make a video essay, talk about whatever you want. But if it's just like, oh, I've been playing this game recently and this one thing is kind of cool, I kind of want to talk about it. Don't make a video essay. I guess you could, but the second you make a really good video essay, the second all of your other ones that aren't as passionately driven become very, I'm restarting the sentence because I don't like how it's going. The second you make a video essay about something that you are very passionate about, the quicker all of your other video essays that come after that will look less passionate. Unless you are only making video essays about stuff you're passionate about. Because most people don't do that. Most people are like, oh, I made a video essay that I'm passionate about, and it popped off because it's actually good. Now let me just make more video essays because that's what people want to see. And then most of them are just, like, garbo. So, like, I would say, like, to be honest, I would just say 90%, or maybe, like, 80 to 90% of video essays on this platform are probably just, like, not as cool to me. I'm not gonna say like, yeah, they're not as cool entirely, but they're just not as like interesting to me because I can tell there's not a lot of passion behind them. And now that I've realized that, I almost let go of the spider. Oh my god. I did that the other day and I like wanted to screech. But I just think most video essays I can't really jive with because I get really bored. And, like, if I'm not feeling the passion, if I'm not feeling like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about, and this guy's actually smart with what he's talking about, if I'm not feeling that, odds are I'm probably not going to continue watching it. Or I'll finish it and be like, okay, I don't want to watch this guy anymore. Or maybe if my brain is just kind of like, okay, that wasn't great. Let me give him the benefit of the doubt. Let me watch a couple more. and then I do, and I'm still just like, okay, that was not good, then I'm just not going to return. Like, perfect example of this is, I was super into, or, why am I saying it past tense? I am super into Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I rewatched it for the first time in like 6 years a couple months ago, and like it's easily one of my favorite television shows of all time. It's one of my favorite animated shows of all time. It's just a lot of my like, it takes up a lot of like it takes up a lot of favorite places in my brain. But basically, why do I always start every sentence with basically? So yeah, I watched Avatar, and I was like super into it, and it inspired me to just watch a lot of like interviews with the creators, like DiMartino and Panetsko, and I was just like watching a lot of stuff that they did, and watching a lot of interviews, podcasts, just different stuff like that. Just learning about how they made the show, and it was super interesting. I loved so much about it. But then eventually one night, it was probably like 12:30. I was exhausted. I was just kind of kicking back on my like computer, and I was like watching. I think I was just watching YouTube on my PS4, and then a video popped into my recommended because I watched a bunch of the interviews with them, with the creators of Avatar on my YouTube account. So in my YouTube account on my PS4, which is obviously the same one. Why am I? Anyway. Because I had watched all those interviews, a lot of recommended videos popped up into my feed about Avatar, and a lot of them were video essays being like, this episode is bad, or why this character is good, or why this thing subverts expectations, or why this thing is, or like the backstory of this. And I was like, I feel like I've seen, like, there were a couple I looked at where I was like, I feel like I've seen this before. And there were a couple where I was like, yeah, I've definitely witnessed this at least once, but I have like no recollection of it. And so I watched a couple of them, and when I was finished, I had one of two conclusions. It was either, okay, that's just straight up not true. Like what was said in this video is like incredibly overblown and is only loosely the case, or it was just like, okay, you could have summed that up in literally one sentence. Like, I think there was one video about, there was a video I saw about how the character Toph is, like, doesn't change at all throughout the series. And when I was done with it, I was like, I mean, when you frame it the way you do, because he basically is just like, yeah, well, okay, for frame of reference for anyone who hasn't watched Avatar, Toph is a very powerful earthbending girl. She's blind and uses the vibrations in the earth to see, essentially, and because of that, it's made her incredibly good at earthbending. And she is the first like metal bender in the Avatar world, which is like a revolutionary thing because no one has ever done that before. And she's able to do it because she's so in tuned with the earth, and she literally teaches herself how to do it, and it's such a great scene. But that's another topic for another day. But basically, the video essay was just like, yeah, Toph is this character made in this, and I was like, okay, you're just pointing the obvious, like whatever, you gotta introduce her, whatever. And then he makes it to, or like the guy who made the video eventually just says like, yeah, all these characters go through all these like huge transformations, and Toph like doesn't change at all. And I was like, that's not true. Like that's pretty much not true. And what he eventually like went on to say was like, she does like there are obvious changes that she goes through. Like obviously she teaches herself metal bending. Obviously she warms up to like she works with Aang after not wanting to work with him in the episode that she's introduced. But like it was just it was the perfect example of like this is loosely true, but not really, because Toph does change. Like, and in her whole introductory episode, she finds the Avatar, and the Avatar like destroys her in like a fight, because her whole thing, like her whole introduction is like, yeah, her parents think she's like blind and like helpless, but then she goes to like a secret fighting arena like every night and goes by the Blind Bandit because she's like a god tier earthbender and just kicks everyone's asses. And then Aang comes in, and because he's an airbender and isn't on the ground a lot, he like owns her, and then she's like, okay, you suck. So but then he goes to find her, and eventually like they reach a common ground, and because at first she's like, okay, you suck, I don't want to work with you, or I don't want to like help you. But then eventually they're like, yeah, sorry about all this. like let's talk it out a little bit, and then they do. And then eventually like she and Aang, who's the Avatar obviously, get kidnapped, and then her parents come and are like, oh, like we'll get her back, we'll pay them a ransom, because they request like 500 gold pieces or something like that. And then they try to take Aang, because they're like, okay, Aang wasn't on the table, we're just giving you the girl, like we're keeping Aang, we can sell them to the Fire Nation for like $1,000,000. and then Toph is like, okay, yeah, I prefer to get owned. And then she basically owns everyone, and her parents like see the whole thing, and then she's like, yeah, you know, like, look, Mom and Dad, I didn't want you to know this, but like, I'm a lot stronger than you think I am, and I'm like really good at earthbending, and I hope you can just accept me for who I am. And then he's like, and then her father's like, yeah, that sounds great. Like, I'm glad you've told us this. This makes me think a lot about who you are as a person. And it makes me realize you need a lot more protection. So then she's like, God damn it. So, eventually, wow, I just realized I'm running around and I haven't seen a spider in a hot minute. Eventually, she just, like, or she decides, like, okay, yeah, I'm going with you guys. Like, screw my parents. I'm not, like, I don't care what they think. I'm just gonna go, like, work with you guys. Like, I'm sneaking away, like, they don't know. So she leaves, and at first, when she joins the group, she's very stubborn and very, like, yeah, I need to work alone. Like, I do everything alone. I'm just here for the ride, okay? Like, you guys can work as a team, but I'm on my own. But then eventually, like, over a couple episodes, she warms up and realizes, like, yeah, you know, I should embrace the help of my friends. It's just I've always felt so, like, headstrong and stuff like that, especially because she's an earthbender, and that's, like, an earthbender characteristic. But she just is very, like, stubborn and very not, like, keen on, like, working together with everyone, but then eventually she learns that, she like, realizes that, yeah, I should be working together with these guys, and then they all become friends, and then she opens up to it, and eventually, like, her parents, like, send people to go capture her, and eventually she owns them, and then they, like, like, she gets captured, but then breaks free, and that's a whole funny thing, and she actually breaks free because she teaches herself metal bending, and it's really cool. But then eventually, later in the show, she realizes, you know, I miss my parents, like, I kind of said, like, you know, like, forget about them, like, they're holding me back, but then eventually she was like, you know, they're still my parents, and they still love me, and they just want what's best for me, like, I should talk to them again. So, in many ways, she actually does go through a period of growth, just because she starts out as this little, like, stubborn girl who's just like, yeah, my parents suck, yeah, I'm on my own, but then at the end, she's like, yeah, I want to work with the team, and I want to help Aang, and I want to, like, now that I'm realizing that my parents are just looking out for me, I want to talk to them again. So in many ways, she does go through some big changes throughout the series, but this guy in this video essay, I know it completely derailed the conversation to talk about Avatar, but this guy in this video essay was basically just like, yeah, she doesn't change at all. She just wants to talk to her parents. Lol, yeah, that's not a big change. Yeah, she doesn't change that much. I'm just like, but she does. You're just, the way you're framing it is making it look like it's not. And that just really bothered me in many ways. And then, oh, what was it? There was another video that was like, yeah, this part of this episode doesn't make sense. And it's like, okay, why is that? Because of this reason. And that's basically summing up the whole video. Because he goes on being like, yeah, this episode doesn't make sense because of this. And then this thing happens, and because this thing happens, then this thing happens. And then this part is interesting because of this very obscure and very, like, long reason that I could have said in 2 seconds. And then by the time I was done with this 15-minute video, I was like, okay, well, I can sum up this whole sentence. And, like, I can sum up, like, this whole essay into, like, one sentence. And that's, this thing is cool for this reason. And that's it. It's just stuff like that. Like, it's just, there are so many video essays that are just, like, there's so many video essays in which I just feel like there's not a point to them. It's just made because, oh, this thing is cool. This thing I like is cool. Let me just kind of talk about it for a little bit, even though I don't care about it as much as I think I do. And I'm not saying this from a high ground, to be honest. Like, I feel like when most people are like, yeah, video essays suck, or this thing on YouTube sucks, this thing is, like, bad. I feel like a lot of people come off as, like, oh, I am above everyone else because I know this thing and you guys don't because you guys suck. But it's like, I'm not speaking from a higher ground here. I'm speaking from a common ground. I'm speaking from the same level because I've done that. And from experience, I know that it's the case. Like, I made that Sekiro video, the one about, like, how Bloodborne felt slow after I played Sekiro. And I got a lot of negative flack because people didn't understand what I was trying to say, in a way. And I still don't really fully know if it was because I phrased things weirdly, or I, like, didn't use the right language to communicate my point, or if it was just a bunch of people, like, I just happened to stumble upon a lot of different people that just didn't agree with it, or just, like, took it the wrong way. I really don't know, but, okay, actually, where are the tarantulas? But back to my point here, I just, like, that video fall under the case of videos I make and think are cool initially and then dislike a month later. Like, that's a prime example of that, because when I made that video, I was like, this is so cool, like, this is exactly what I want to say about this game. And I want to say like, Bloodborne felt slow to me because Sekiro was too fast for me, and I played it like 7 times. And, like, after I finished it, number one, as I literally just said, I was not pleased with it. Like, literally a month later. And, it falls under what I was saying earlier. It falls under the category of, you could sum this up in one sentence and the whole video is pointless. And, like, the whole point of the video was, yeah, Sekiro's a really fast game. Even its mechanics make it feel fast. And Bloodborne, at one point, was the fastest. But now it feels slow to me because I played Sekiro, which is even faster. Like, I played these games in the wrong order, guys. And, like, I could literally just sum it up as, Bloodborne felt slow to me because I played Sekiro beforehand, which is incredibly fast. That's it. Like, that's basically everything. That's all you need to know. And a lot of people from the Souls community, because I put it in, like, the Dark Souls subreddit or something, or the, like, Soulsborne subreddit, and people were just like, wow, this video sucks. Wow, this is terrible. Or wow, like, yeah, Sekiro isn't a Soulsborne game. I don't know why you're classing them together. And I'm like, I wasn't classing them together. I was just saying I played one and it made the other feel slow. I've never said, yeah, they're all the same. I mean, I guess there are certain points where I feel like it could be implied, like, if you really look too far into it, it could be implied that I was like, yeah, Sekiro kind of is a Souls game, but I never explicitly said, yeah, I played this Souls game, pointing at Sekiro, and then played this Souls game, pointing at Bloodborne. Like, I basically said, my first Soulsborne game was Bloodborne, and then I played Sekiro, and then it was, yeah, but, like, I guess you could look at it that way, but I don't really know. But it was just, I eventually took the video down. It doesn't really exist anymore. People that liked it can see it, whatever, it's on them, it's unlisted, but I just didn't want it floating around YouTube anymore. So, I mean, Yeah, I'm just not too keen on video essays and a lot of reviews anymore, just because a lot of them are very half-assed and not very passionate. And I don't really jive with that. A little bit of ice left in my Arnold Palmer. Oh god! One thing I like to do with Arnold Palmers, by the way, just on a completely different side note, is so I get the Arizona brand, and it's obviously iced tea and lemonade, like that's just what it is already. But my dad gets this like limeade stuff from Trader Joe's. It's pretty good. So one night I was like, I'm a mad scientist. Let me just put some random stuff together, and I put together that Arnold Palmer drink, like the Arizona brand one, with the limeade from Trader Joe's, and I got like the basic proportion was 80% of glass is Arnold Palmer, 20% is limeade, and I just mixed it together, and it was the most delicious thing. Like, I literally enjoyed it so wholeheartedly. And it also got very like foamy, and it was really cool. Like it felt like there was a lot of just foam at the top of it, and it was really rad. No! Oh my god! It was literally like a pixel away from catching him. That sucks. At least it'll reset the area and probably make more stuff spawn. But yeah, it's super good, and I don't have any of the limeade stuff in the house, so I'm not drinking that concoction tonight, but it was a very, very nice concoction, because it had, like, a perfect amount of, like, sweetness, but also a good amount of, like, little sour kick, and it got really, like, foamy at the surface of the drink, and it was just, like, taking a sip of it was just really comfortable. It was just very refreshing. I really enjoyed that. I haven't caught a lot of spiders tonight. I wish they were just... this is another reason I wish the islands were just less RNG based. I wish I could always go to the same place and get the same stuff. Like it's... I mean, I feel like after a while it could get repetitive, but on Captain's Island, or the tropical island in New Leaf, that never got that way. Because I would always return and, like, whatever showed up, what showed up, and I was excited, because no matter what showed up there, I could always make money. I would always return with at least like 100k worth of insects and fish. And sometimes it was rare stuff I could hand into the museum, and that was awesome. And also, another thing was that the island would rent you items. You wouldn't have to bring any of your own stuff, because the island would literally give you your own tools. And even if you did bring your own stuff, it wouldn't break. Like, the island gave you your own supplies to fish and bug hunt with and dive with. Oh yeah, that's a thing in this game, by the way. There's no diving. Like, it gave you all of your supplies for you, so you could just catch and, like, take your stuff at will. And there was a box that had, like, 5 rows of, like, 10 slots that you could just fill with all your finds. So you could literally stock up on tons of bugs and make like hundreds of thousands of bells each trip. And it's so frustrating that this stuff isn't in this game. Like, it's like the quality of life was just so high. It was literally like everything that I could have thought of in that game, it answered. Like, I say, man, I wish I had inventory space, or I wish I could just stockpile whatever I catch. And the game was like, okay, here's a fishing box, or here's like an item box that you can just shove all your stuff into, so you can make multiple trips around this island. And I'm like, that's sick. And I'm like, man, I wish I could just, like, and honestly, a lot of the time it answers stuff I didn't ask for, like how it hands you your own items. That's awesome. Like, in this game, it's so annoying. Because your items just break every 2 seconds, and then you have to spend Nook Miles, which are sometimes not very easy to get. You have to spend Nook Miles to buy new ones, and it's only like 100 per tool, so it's not that bad, but it's just annoying. Like, I wish it was the same. I wish it was like, oh yeah, here's your box. You can put all your stuff in here, you can grind for as long as you want, like, do whatever you need to do. Or, like, oh, here's your, like, pre-made tools, courtesy of, like, the Dodo, like, flight service. Like, here you go, like, take your pick, like, do whatever you want. And I'd be like, great, awesome, thank you. Like, that's not something I would even ask for, but in this game, I would ask for it. Like, I would really ask for it in this game, just because your stuff breaks every 2 seconds, and I don't want to have to pay for new stuff. I also just don't like that you need 2,000 Nook Miles to get a Nook Miles ticket. I don't know, man. It's just... Every now and then, it's hard not to just stare at it and just be like... It's hard not to stare at this game and just be like, this is such a good game. Why is such, like, stupid, like, inefficient stuff here? And, but then eventually I'll make a lot of money off of something, or eventually, like, I'll get good RNG on tarantulas, or I'll get a new incline or a new bridge, or I'll help a townsfolk do something. And then I'll decorate my house, and I'll be like, yeah, this is a good game, you know? But it's just, I feel like, in many ways, I almost want to go back to New Leaf. I actually was looking into getting a 3DS emulator today, because I want a new island, and I want to be able to play Animal Crossing on my PC. And I think you can do netplay too, so I could probably convince a friend or two to, like, jump in with me, and, like, start their own island. But you'd have to have really high graphics for it to make it stand out. Or, I mean, that's not entirely true. You don't need amazing graphics to play a game these days, but I feel like it's something that's just increasingly wanted from me. Like, the more I play video games as of late, the more I'm just like, but I want it to look good. Like, okay, I'm fixing up my bug net again. I really like, yeah, Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is a why do I feel like I keep slurring through that. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate is a great example of that, because I want to play on the 3DS, but when I play on my new 3DS XL, which is what I would always play my 3DS games on from now on, like, why would I go back to my old 3DS, my tiny one? Like, now that I'm playing 3 Ultimate on my new 3DS XL, which is large, it, like, upsizes and upscales the visuals, but doesn't smooth them out, so it's just really choppy and really gross. And it's frustrating, and it, like, deters me from playing the game, because it just looks bad, and I'm just like, I don't want to be staring at this for too long. But I also don't want to play the Wii U version, because I don't want to boot up my Wii U again, especially because I'm still butthurt about the whole, like, save situation. And I'm also just afraid, I'm like, where is the save gonna go? Because I used to put all my saves on, like, a flash drive after a while, because I ran out of space in my system. And eventually it was just like, okay, well, now and I just feel that way, like, eternally with my Wii U now, and I don't want to play on it. So I'm just kind of, like, stuck in the middle with that game, and I just want it to look good. So, and I feel that way about, like, most games, and that's one thing I'm really happy about with this game. This game looks amazing. Compared to 3 Ultimate, compared to New Leaf, compared to all the other Animal Crossing games, this game looks fantastic. And honestly, like, the way it runs on the Switch is just, like, absurd to me. Just because, and not in a bad way, I mean in a good way. Because I often look at a lot of Switch games, and I see that they're very, what's the word I'm looking for? Most Switch games are very, they look very good in handheld and then look kind of choppy on the TV. Like, I feel that way about Breath of the Wild a lot. Like, every now and then I look at it on my TV and I'm just like, this could look way better. Like, it looks kind of choppy. But then, but with this game, it's not the case. This game looks great. This game looks great in both. Like, on handheld, I'm like, bro, this looks amazing. And then on TV, I'm like, bro, this game looks sick. Even with Monster Hunter, I felt that way too. Or not that it looked great, but that it, like, looked choppy on the TV and great on the handheld. Like, it's just, they're, like, a lot of the games are just very, like, because of, it's like a limitation of the console. It's just because it needs to work on the handheld, it's inherently, a lot of the time, it just won't look nearly as good on TV. But in this situation, it works out perfectly, and I'm really happy about that. That's why, that was another thing I thought about when I was getting the Blob. Because I was like, I thought, because I own it on Wii. That's where I played it first. I was like, oh, I gotta, like, in my head I was like, oh, I'll just play it on Wii. Like, I'll just boot it up and have fun. But then I remembered, oh yeah, the Wii looks like crap. Like, I hate to say it, but in many ways, like, they're just not games that are, like a lot of Wii games just do not age well graphically. The only one that I can consistently say, like, yeah, this still looks awesome is Pokemon Battle Revolution, but even then it still looks kind of choppy. And there have been several times there have been like, I should just emulate this. But that being said, like, I decided to get the Blob and the Blob 2 on my Switch, and I was like, please look good. Because the second I booted it up, it showed like the intro cutscene, which, by the way, is hilarious to me every single time. Like, every time, like, when I booted it up, it just, the intro cutscene looked kind of scuffed, and the main menu looked a little choppy, and I was like, oh boy, please don't look bad. But then I started, like, actually getting into the game, and it's so polished, it looks great now. I'm like, thank God. Like, now I know that they're gonna run well. Because this game is old, and it's clearly, like, aged well in this regard, and it can actually be run properly and actually look good. But about the Blob's intro, I saw it again recently on a Grapefruit stream, as I was saying, and now I never realized how comical it is, just because, like, it starts off and it's like the whole point of the game is like, oh, the bad guys came and took away all the color, and now you have to put all the color back, but the intro cutscene starts before that happens, so it's like, oh, everyone's like happy in their city, and they're like running around, and everything's all colorful, and a little girl like gets a balloon from like a balloon stand, and then she takes like 2 steps forward and like drops her balloon, or like lets go of her balloon, it like drifts up, and the music just is like playing normally, it's all happy, and then the second the camera pans up to like, or the camera switches perspective to behind her to like show the balloon, and then there's just a giant mothership of just like evil, of like the evil guys, and the music just completely tanks. It's like, damn. And it's just so abrupt, because it's just like girls running like da 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 da, and it just completely changes tone like so fast. It like kills me every single time. Because when I first saw it the other day in that one stream, I was like, oh, like, I forget how fun and like colorful it is, and then that happened, and I was like, oh my god. That was good. It's so entertaining. Ooh. I'll be honest, I really have to go to the bathroom. Also, I'm not getting tarantulas too much. I might postpone this grind. I might just stop the recording here, because I'm looking to just keep watching Grapefruit and just kind of relax for the night. Because while the grind is kind of like boring, my throat's starting to get kind of, it's not hoarse. I was gonna be like, oh, my throat's starting to hurt. No, it's not. My throat feels fine. It's just like, I feel like if I go too much longer, it'll just be, it'll start to hurt, and I don't want that. Because I feel like I could make this a regular thing very easily. I just kind of do it every night. But, I don't really know, because I'm only going to do it for as long as I'm farming tarantulas. And I think the goal, as I said earlier, is to just stockpile tarantulas, make as much money as I can off of them, then buy turnips, and basically live off of the stock market. Because I'm tired of this. I don't want to have island RNG literally just screw me over every single time. Because it's pretty much happened like several times now, where I've just been like, oh, let's go get tarantulas, and then I get like a terrible island for it. And it's also just hard. It's hard to judge what's a good island and what's a bad island before you just go in to do it, because every time you go to the island, you also have to keep in mind that you have to take everything down. Like, you have to, like, get rid of all the trees, you have to get rid of all the flowers and the weeds and everything, and that takes time. That's not like a 2-second endeavor. That could take you from, like, 10 minutes. Actually, perhaps that's a little harsh. It takes, like, probably 5 to 7, I would imagine, but I feel like if you're really, like, if you're not, like, rushing it, it could take up to 10. But, like, you really have to make, like, a judgmental decision of, like, is this going to work? Because there was an island yesterday that I went to where I was like, oh, this is perfect. I can use this. Like, I've used this for spider hunting before. Like, this will work, whatever. Like, fine. And I cleared out the whole place. Literally the entire island. Got rid of everything. Put it all in the, like, upper right or left-hand corner like I did now. And no spiders showed up at all. And it was just tons of butterflies. And I asked my buddy, I was like, hey, like, I picked the flowers, but there are tons of butterflies around. Like, what do I do? And he was like, okay, maybe, like, dig up the flowers. And then eventually I was like, okay, sure. And I dug them up, but then I realized they stay in your inventory and you can't drop them normally like a normal item. You have to plant them. So I just kind of planted them all in one corner and just kept going. And then, but the spiders never showed up and the butterflies just dominated the island. So I literally wasted all that time. And I made like 7k off of it or something. I'm looking for 200k. It was a complete waste of time. So at this point, I'm very hesitant to walk into an island. Or I'm not hesitant to walk into an island. I want to go to the islands, obviously. But I'm very hesitant to, like, take an island that could be iffy. Because there are 2 island layouts that I know will work for sure. Unless the butterflies show up, I guess. That's a very rare occurrence for me with these grinds, though. Or at least thus far. I've only been doing this for like a week, or like half a week to a week-ish. But it's just, you have to like make that choice. You have to really sit down and be like, okay, do I want to spend a good amount of time taking down everything, throwing all the items down, then hoping that spiders show up? Or do I want to, just like take the L and leave and like re-roll for another island? Because it's never consistent. And I'm looking for that bamboo island because there's no hills, there's no nothing. It's literally just a flat surface that I can chop, where I can chop down all the trees, pick all the flowers, and pick all the weeds, and have all the spiders I want show up. So I don't know. Honestly, I'll be completely honest. I gotta go to the bathroom. So I'm gonna be right back. I'm just gonna let the bugs reload. I actually might end the little thingy here, but we'll see. I'm going to the restroom, so I will either see you guys later, or I will see you guys in 2 seconds.